This is my grandpa Pete Betcher. He was, how old are you?
81.
81 years old. He was in World War II, and he's going to tell you a little something about what happened during the World War II.
Okay, what year did you have to leave for the war?
When I went into the army in 42 on my birthday,
So 1942 is when you left.
and I was in Texas for 2 years in training.
So from Texas, then where did you leave, where did the ship leave from?
Ship left from, I was in Fort Dix, New Jersey.
How long were you on the ship before you arrived in France?
2 weeks.
After you got to France, then what countries did you go to?
Well, we went to Holland, and then we went to Germany.
How long were you in Germany?
Year and a half.
What was it like on the ship? I mean, was there plenty to eat, or did you have to work, or?
We didn't have too much to eat. We were torpedoed on the way out on the way to France.
What happened then?
It took us longer than they figured. We run out of food, water.
One time you said you only had like one hot dog for the whole day. Is that what everybody got to eat then?
Everybody had one hot dog. And I was lucky enough, I was sitting in front of a guy, he got sick and he vomited it all over my hot dog. And there wasn't nothing else to eat, I had to wipe it off and eat it. Then we got over in France. I had a bone broke in my hand, and it was awful sore. I had a big duffel bag, a field pack, and a rifle. When we got off of the ship, we had to dig in. We had to dig a foxhole. And I couldn't dig. We only had little bitty shovels. I couldn't dig. My hand was so sore. The officer come to me. He said, "How are you going to crawl in that hole?" I says, "I ain't." I says, "I don't give a damn if I get shot or get killed."
What was the foxhole for? Like to hide in if the
Yeah,
other people came?
Because there was German gunfire in France there when we got off the ship.
How many guns did you have to carry?
I only had my M1 rifle.
Did you ever have to shoot anybody, or did anybody ever shoot at you?
Somebody shot at me, and then we was on me and another guy was on a truck, and we had to have a slip of paper showing where we went. So the MP took the flashlight and signed it on my pass. And when he turned on the flashlight, a sniper up in a tree or house, whatever he was, he shot my buddy right through the upper part of his leg.
So then what did you have to do?
Then I had to get to a medical center because he was bleeding so bad. And we had to drive blackout. Didn't dare to put any lights on.
Did
Had to
he
go
live?
about 3 miles to the medical center. We got there where the man was almost dead because he lost so much blood.
Did he live?
Yeah, he lived. Then when I was in Paris, I was on the Red Ball Express hauling supplies off of the ship to Paris, France. He was in a big convoy. And our truck broke down. We had an assistant driver, and there was 2 of us in there. When our truck broke down, we lost the convoy, and then finally, we got the truck going. We lost, we didn't know where we were. So there's two black people come and asked us if we was lost. I said, yeah, we was lost. He said, where are you going? He said, I said, we're going to Paris, France. Oh, we're on our way there too. You can follow us. And we followed them, and they took us way down in the dungeon. We had a load of coffee on the truck. They stole all of our coffee. And when we got to Paris, we had got in bad trouble. The officers in Paris thought we sold the coffee. Said that it was stolen from us. We finally got out of that. And then I got off of the Red Ball Express and
What's the Red Ball Express? A truck or what?
hauling supplies off of the ship and gasoline and stuff. So we was standing in the middle of the field there with gas. There's two black people in there filling up these 5-gallon cans full of gas, standing in gas up to their ankles. There's a spill. And this one black boy, he lit a cigarette. He was gonna smoke. He could have blowed us all up, but we finally got him to get rid of the cigarette.
So was there a lot of dead soldiers?
Lots of dead soldiers. I went into a concentration camp where there was all the displaced Jews and displaced people in there. And the German SS troopers were in there, and they threw gas in there and burnt the place up. One man crawled with his hands and knees. He dug underneath the foundation of the building, and he got out, and he's the one that told us about it, what happened. The Germans didn't like the Jews. They killed all the Jews. They dug a big trench. They threw people in there. Some of them were alive, some of them were dead. They threw them in there and killed them, all the Jews. And after going through the war, while we got to the Rhine River, the engineers put a bridge across the Rhine River. The first bridge they put across there, the Germans bombed it out, and the water was just like, was red with blood from the soldiers that was on that bridge. Well, then the engineers built another bridge. Then they crossed it, and I was up in a big poplarwood tree, putting a telephone line across the Rhine River, and the machine guns, the Germans were shooting, cutting the branches off of the tree that I was in. So I got off of there in a hurry and hit the ground, and we finally got across the Rhine River, and we chased the Germans back.
When you had to hide in like a foxhole, how long did you have to stay in them holes?
I never really had to be in the foxhole after I got to Germany. Only when we first got off of the ship.
Oh.
We was always in German buildings in the basement. We was in this one German house. It was a great big white house. Two older women owned the house. And there was lots of watches and stuff. And it was all wired. You had to look real close because it was booby trapped.
Huh.
If you'd have picked up one of them watches, it would have blown the whole thing up. But then after we went out of that house, the two old women, they come back in there, They were talking German, and I could understand them. I could understand German. The first thing they done, they moved the bathtub. They picked the bathtub up, and underneath the bathtub was thousands and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry
Hmm.
that we never, the soldiers that was in that house never knew they were there.
Huh.
If we'd have known they was there, we'd have had them. But these two old women, they got them after we left.
When you were in the war, what is the most personal experience that you remember the most? What
Well,
was like the scariest?
The dangerous thing I done was I had a spool. I was in the survey section. I had a spool of wire strapped on my back and crawling on my hands and knees up to the front line to get communication to the infantrymen on the front line. And machine gun fire always shooting over top of my head. I didn't dare to get up. I had to crawl on my hands and knees.
That must have been terrible.
And got up to the front lines. Then I crawled back and got in the building where we were staying. We didn't have too much to eat when we got in Germany. We raided a lot of German basements. They had a lot of food down there. Their deer meat, they had everything in cans, and they canned it all, and they had pickled deer meat, and then we went searching around for something to drink. We got into this basement, and there's a whole bunch of bottles there of peppermint schnapps. Not peppermint, potato schnapps. It's made out of potatoes.
Potato schnapps.
So we drank some of that. We drank it quite a bit, and I got awful drunk and sick. Next morning I went to the doctor. Both of my eyes were swallowed shut from that poison from that potato schnapps.
So what was life like during this time when you had to go to the war? I mean, was it better than today, or was it a lot worse?
Training was awful bad. We got some new guns. We had to go out on a firing line, and the officers made us oil up all these new rifles, these carbines. We got on the rifle range, the wind was blowing, and the sand was flying, and none of our guns would work because it was all clogged up with sand with that oil on there.
After you got out of the war, how did it affect you? I mean,
Well,
you probably seen a lot, so you experienced a.
I've seen a lot, and I got by pretty good in Germany because I could understand their language and I could talk German. We got a lot of stuff on like K rations and stuff, and tobacco, cigarettes, Copenhagen, pipe tobacco. And this Germans, they didn't have no tobacco. So I took all the Copenhagen and all the pipe tobacco and I give it to this German. He had a nice looking daughter. I said, I'll trade you this tobacco for taking your daughter out. Yeah, he said, you can have the daughter. I give him from Prince Albert and Velvet tobacco and half and half. Oh, he thought that was good. He never tasted and smoked such good tobacco. Then we went, after the war was over, we had a lot of stuff to do. Me and another guy, we went, roamed around and the houses in Germany, and we got to this one house. They had 4 daughters. We went in there and we stayed there for a while, had food there and drinks. And then the engineers, they was in this house too with these daughters. When we was in there, they come in there. This one engineer, he took my gun away from me. He said, "You get out of here," he said, "I'll blow your head off." So he threw my gun in the roadside in the ditch, and he said, "Now take off." He said, we're going to take over here." So I went and picked my gun up and walked back to the house where we were staying. Then after the war was, they wanted volunteer truck drivers. When I was a truck driver, I was the first one to be called. And we hauled displaced people to Czechoslovakia. And all these people in a 2.5-ton truck with sides on it, they couldn't sit down because there were too many of them. They had to stand up. And I was the last one in the convoy. There was probably 25, 30 trucks. The first truck was going 30 miles an hour, but on the back end there, I had to go real fast to keep up with them so I wouldn't get lost. Went around this curve, and I could feel, I thought my truck was going to tip over. It was top heavy with all the people standing back there. And I had a pregnant woman in front with me in the front seat. She was so scared, she was crying and hollering. She thought we were going to tip over. But then when we got to Czechoslovakia, the Czechoslovakia president or whatever he was, he wouldn't let us unload the people. He didn't want them. He said, "We haven't got no food. We haven't got no place for them to stay. You have to take them back." Well, the officer finally talked him into leaving them there. So then we went back home empty with our truck.
So how would you compare the times that you lived through, like with other wars? Do you think that World War II was a lot more dangerous than like the Vietnam War?
Well, I don't know if it was more dangerous. I think the Vietnam War was worse. And the Pacific with Japan, that was worse too, I think.
Was there any men that was in your troop that got killed?
Yeah, a lot of them got killed. And then I went to a general's, what was his name? They always called him Blood and Guts. Our guts and his guts and our blood. He was a General Patton. He got killed in a Jeep accident.
So you seen General Patton?
Yeah, he was our general over there. Then I had to haul this, he was a major, I guess. I had to haul him around in a Jeep. And we went out toward the front line, and he got a letter from his wife or girlfriend. And he had it there in the Jeep with me when I was in there. So he took off looking around, and I got nosy. I was going to read that letter that he had from his girlfriend. I had it in my hand. Here he was coming back. I didn't have time to put it away. I crushed it up and put it underneath the seat. He come back there, he said, looking around, he says, "Where'd my letter go?" "God," I said, "I don't know, I haven't seen it." I said, "Wind probably blew it away." And he wasn't very happy about that. We got back to the rest of the company, and I got rid of that letter, and never did see it again.
Huh.
All right, Grandpa. Well, thank you for your time.